What's good, Chaotic Nation? It is your boy Chaos here, and welcome back to a different kind of video. I wanted to make this one before Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out. Kind of ran out of time a little bit, so I'm trying something different like I did with the cast form video just a little bit ago. I think a couple months at this point in time, where I don't have a script, I don't have anything in the background, it's just me talking. So if you want to watch this and tab out and just listen, you're not going to really miss anything visually. You're just going to miss seeing this mug, and I don't know if you want to see that or not, but I wanted to drop this video before Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out to talk about the team I would use if I was playing this regularly. And I say if I would play this regularly, not for the fact that I'm going to be doing something completely weird and extraordinary, or just everywhere across the board, or just random. But I'm not going to be doing a traditional first Let's Play that I do of a new game when this game comes out, because I want to stream it for you guys. I want to be there and be a part of the community that's going to be streaming it. So I need to find a way to stand out, and so I've chosen a different method. I'm not going to reveal it just yet, so come over on twitch.tv /chaos6 on Friday when the game drops, Friday the 19th, to join us for a live series event. I should be live earlier in the day, so I'm assuming like 8 o'clock in the morning would be when I'm about to start. So come check it out. I'll have links and post about it in the Discord server, on my Twitter account, so follow those, and I'll also post something about it on the community tab once we get there. Also, thank you guys so much for the community tab. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. I know I have in a video, but I really want to say thank you for supporting me. Thank you for getting us to 500, and I keep seeing growth with this channel, and it excites me to make more and more content. So please keep sharing this with your friends, keep subscribing, keep checking out the content on the channel, and I'll stop with all that stuff and I'll get into what my team would be in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So first off, I've used every starter in the game countless times. I've run probably the most of the time with Chimchar, just because I like fire types, but I've also done a few playthroughs with Torterra and a few playthroughs with Empoleon. I've actually done one on the channel. If you watched my Elite Lock, I had both a Chimchar, which ended up being an Infernape, and a Piplup, which was an Empoleon by the end of the series. So I've used both of them on the series on the channel already, and I've used I've used Torterra on many teams too. I think it actually was my first starter was Torterra, so my original team did have a Torterra on it. So I've used all of them at least a few times, so I'm not going to be including any starters on my team, and instead my starter Pokemon is actually going to be a Kricketune. You can get a Kricketot right there on the first couple routes in the game, barring that they don't change that. I don't expect them to change the routes too much, so maybe like 1 or 2 new Pokemon on it. But I was going to use Kricketune, mostly because I never really used Kricketune in a playthrough. I had a Kricketot for a long time, but basically once I got to Floroma Town, which is just after the first gym, you know, you kind of move past the early bug Pokemon and choose something else to fill your team. Like at that moment in time, could have been a Shellos, could have been a Buizel, could have been something from the forest. So you really can just put that Pokemon aside, and just to make it a little bit of a challenge to me, and also because I really like Kricketune. It was one of my favorite Pokemon in the anime. I really like the guy who kind of plays it on the harp, and their dynamic in the Pokemon contest. So I really wanted to use a Kricketune. Also, the cry is a big meme, and I just want to kind of have that on my team going through the game. But Kricketune is just a cool Pokemon for me. I've never used one all the way through a game, and it's something that, you know, really doesn't get much love outside of Generation 4. You kind of only see it in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. It's one of those Pokemon that are kind of like locked into Sinnoh, because we don't want to like oversaturate every other region with Sinnoh Pokemon. So it's one of those Pokemon that I never really have gotten the chance to use, let alone use outside of its main game. So I want to add that to my team, and that's going to be my starter Pokemon because it's the first one I can catch. Next up on my team, I wanted to use Tangrowth. I really like Tangela. Tangela is one of my favorite Pokemon out there, mostly because it's just a lot of fun and a menace. Because like Regenerator, Eviolite, or if Regenerator leftovers or Assault Vest on Tangrowth can be a lot of fun. And it's a grass type Pokemon, and I've never really got to use one because you think about where you find it in Kanto, it's so late in the game. It's one of those Pokemon that kind of just get pushed back to the end of the game, and you've already had a team established by then. You're not going to want to grab a new Pokemon that you have to train up and run a different strategy for. So it's easier just to not use the Pokemon. And for me, I want to try it out. I really like the Pokemon. I used it in my Pixelmon playthrough. It was a really good Pokemon in that, and so I kind of want to implement that into Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl with Tangela and Tangrowth. I know like not finding them early on in the game was going to be a problem, so I originally wasn't going to use this team for a while, mostly because I wasn't expecting to buy the game right on release day, although that has changed, and I'm going to definitely be doing that now. But I wanted to have that as like a playthrough to use on the channel, as a playthrough to start the game. So I was gonna wait a day or two, get the game, play it over Thanksgiving, and then come back after Thanksgiving and be like, let's go Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, Shiny Hunting, battling, etc. You know, the post game stuff that everybody does when a new game drops. But so I was gonna have the access to trade with somebody, get some of those Pokemon that I wasn't able to get, and kind of use them on my team. I have no idea if Tangrowth is going to be eligible early in the game. If it is, I'm going to be excited, and hopefully I can grab it on the team. But we'll have to see what happens with the game and move on from there. My next addition to the team is actually Bronzong. I've never used a Bronzong in a playthrough. I've used it very many times in competitive. I think it was on my original PDL team. It was on a few iterations of Draft League. It's been on some of my Showdown Live teams in lower tiers. It's just a really good Pokemon, and I like it a lot, mostly because it can be a stealth rocker, it can be skill swap. It has a lot of utility to be used, as well as a really good typing. Steel and Psychic is a really solid typing, and one of my favorites out there, especially like in Generation 4 when Steel resists Dark, and so then really you're only kind of weak to Ghost, and Fire, and Ground. So you kind of lose some of those weaknesses, making it a really solid Pokemon. But I've never used it, mostly because it's a defensive Pokemon. In a playthrough, I tend to like to be aggressive and play offensively, not really have to worry about being more of a defensive user. But I think that adding this Pokemon would be something I want to try out, simply because I've used it in a lot of other scenarios, and I'd like to put it back into the game in the context it was originally found in, and then try it out and see it. So Bronzong would be on the team that I wanted to use. I wanted a little bit more coverage for my team as well, so I added Rotom Heat into this. I didn't use Rotom in the original generation. I don't even remember using Rotom outside of competitive and Gen 7 and Gen 8. Like, I have not really touched Rotom in a playthrough style of a game. Like, you see it in Rotom Dice, you see it in the Rotom phone, but you don't really get to use the Pokemon. And you can obtain one in the mansion in Eterna Forest. It's just right there, and I've always wanted to use it, but never have gotten to that point. And over the years, doing competitive, I've really come to love using the Rotom forms, mostly because it has a lot of utility with the typings you can choose from: electric water, electric grass, electric fire, electric flying, electric ice, and all of them have their own uses and can be a lot of fun to use, especially with Wonder Policy now, and a lot of the really powerful moves of the type requiring you to have accuracy to lose accuracy in order to get more damage. It was just kind of cool. So I wanted to add Rotom Heat. There's no other way to get a fire type in the game. I wanted to use a fire type, and Rotom Heat was one of the ways to do that. Although I do know, like, getting the form of Rotom was a little bit different, but as I said, with Tangrowth, and the ability to trade with people after a couple days, and having somebody, hey, take my Rotom, make it a Rotom Heat, and then trade it back to me, and getting that done would have been really cool, and just a new way to play the game with a fire type that is kind of unconventional, because you think fire types, and in Sinnoh you think you either got Ponyta or you got Infernape, and it depends on if you chose Infernape as your starter, or you're stuck using Ponyta, or you just don't have a fire type. So I wanted to have an unconventional way to get a fire type. Plus, fire and electric's a really cool typing, two of my favorite types. Two types that have been my favorite type at one point in time. I don't remember if you remember the Shock Lock when I started the channel. Electric was my favorite type when we started the channel. which again evolved back into fire typing just because it represents me really well. But I wanted to try out Rotom in a Let's Play, in a playthrough, and I haven't done that yet, so that was going to be on my team as well. Up next is Togekiss, mostly because the idea that everyone's been talking about, it becomes a fairy type in Generation 6. Therefore, Cynthia gives you a Togekiss to be used on your team, which is a counter to Garchomp, although I've already talked about my reckoning with Garchomp. I'd love to see it have Dragon Dance, and I'd love to see like her have a Steel type, just so she has a Fairy Dragon Steel core. That makes Cynthia broken. I'm okay with that. I'm honestly okay with Cynthia being broken. But I wanted to use a Togekiss mostly because, again, I hadn't used it in the playthrough. I'd used it on a competitive team. And I wanted to get a chance to use it. I know you can find one in many different games, including the Johto games, in an egg. But I've always just got the egg, hatched it, put it in the box for all eternity. Never actually used one. So I really wanted a chance to put it on my team. Plus, it's a Generation 4 Pokemon, and I kind of wanted to use a team that was based on the region that I hadn't really got to use yet, because everybody chooses, you know, Garchomp and Fernape and Luxray and Staraptor. You know, those are the typical 4 you think of when you play a Sinnoh game. So I wanted to try something a little bit different here with a flying type Pokemon, because I'd had used Crobat before in a playthrough. I've used Staraptor, so I wanted to try just a little bit of a difference for my flying type Pokemon in the game. Togekiss fits that bill, and it's a fairy type, and I like using, despite the fact that I don't like fairy types that much, I like using them. I like having one on my team. Just be like, oh, hey, there's coverage here. And I can totally have it ready to go and use it. And last but not least is Glaceon. I wanted to use an evolution on my team. I wanted to use Leafeon or Glaceon specifically because they're the Generation 4 ones, and they're the ones I have not used the most. Glaceon actually was my least favorite evolution until Sylveon came out, just because I don't like the typing. But Sylveon I've used a lot more than Glaceon. And I think Glaceon really only works in a playthrough. It's not really a good competitive Pokemon. It doesn't have a moveset to really benefit it in competitive. It doesn't have a ability that helps it out that much besides Ice Body, and then you have to run a Hail team. So I just wanted a chance to run Glaceon in a game because you never get to. Glaceon is a late game Pokemon. You find it at the 7th gym because that's the earliest you can evolve your Eevee. And by that point in time, you already should have a fully developed team, in my opinion. So I wanted to have a chance to use it earlier on in the game and try it out throughout the playthrough. Maybe even have it before I go fight Gardenia. That way I can have an Ice type to deal with it as well. I mean, I'm going to have, at that point I would have had a Bug and a Fire type and an Ice type to deal with her. So she wouldn't have been really too much of an issue. And plus Bronzong would have existed too. So I would have had a way to deal with Roserade. But I just wanted to try it out. It's an evolution I haven't used really at all, and I think Ice types are really cool, despite the fact that they don't get used much, mostly because they're found late in the game. So I wanted that chance to use a Pokemon that was later in the game earlier, and by having people who had the game, who were playing the game, who were at that point in the game in Snow Point City, where they could go get me a Glaceon to use in my playthrough, would have been really cool, and I thought it was just really fun. So the unique team that I have is Tangela, which would be Tangrowth, Kricketune, Bronzong, Rotom Heat, Togekiss, and Glaceon, which I thought was a really unique team. It's a bunch of Sinnoh Pokemon that normally don't get used. I mean, I know a lot of people use Togekiss, or it's one of the substitutes for Staraptor, but it's something I have never used, and these are a bunch of Pokemon that I haven't had the chance of really working with. So I wanted that ability to try them out in their native region, in a Generation 8 game where Togekiss was a fairy type, and hopefully with better movesets that they could actually be beneficial to a playthrough and offer some diversity. But also this was a challenge too, to kind of use Pokemon that maybe weren't the best, you know, weren't the original 4 Pokemon that kind of make the game too easy, but something that was a little bit different to help out and make it a little bit of a challenge my first time through. But that would be the team I would originally choose for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Let me know what team you started with or you're thinking about using, because I know this comes out almost a week before. We're less than a week to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And so let me know what team you're going to be using, what your starter Pokemon is, if you're going to use something that's unique or different, just let me know what you're going to be doing for your playthrough. I'd love to hear about it. And you can do that in the comment section down below. While you're down there, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more content from me, because it really does help out. I've been seeing the growth, and I really appreciate you guys leaving comments and letting me know about what you think about my content, what you want to see improved, what I did well, what it maybe needs a little bit of a tweaking, your ideas on thoughts that I'm talking about. So just let me know in the comment section down below. Feel free to join us over on Twitch on Friday the 19th on release day. I'm gonna say 8 a.m. right now in video, so I have to lock it in. 8 a.m. Come check it out. I'll be glad to have you guys join me in my first playthrough, which will not be using this team, unfortunately. But maybe at some point we can come back and be like, hey, remember that video I did where I talked about the team I wanted to use? Let's use it on a team and have fun with this game. So we can always come back and watch this. I've spent a lot of time crafting this team over... literally since the summer I crafted this team, and I'm like, I want to use these Pokemon because I never have, and I think it would be fun. So I wanted to share that with you since I'm not going to get to use it. But yeah, definitely come check out the live stream next Friday on the release day, 8 a.m. over on Twitch. You can join me over on Discord as well for ways to hang out with the community. Follow me on Twitter for updates. Follow me on TikTok for more video content. And make sure you subscribe to Invisible Corporations as well, so that way you can see my non-Pokemon related content too. But that is going to be it for me today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed. And until next time, my name is Chaos, and I'm signing off. Stay safe, and as always,